Hello, 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 Pretty Girl alumni. Welcome to the lesson. Class is in session. This is my first video of the Decentering Men series, and I really like this topic because I do believe that for everyone to be a whole, fully fledged human being with their own thoughts and their own values and their own goals, desires, etc., you need to be able to not center anything in particular outside of yourself. You need to not make anything the main objective outside of improving yourself and reaching your full potential. And when I started decentering men, I think I actually found a lot of peace and a lot of satisfaction in life because as girls, we are socialized and conditioned to see the male gaze as the holy grail that we need to thrive towards. And if you don't appease the male gaze, then you're not this and that and that. And I just think that's a whole lot of lies. You can actually reach your full potential and be your best self while decentering men. You can decenter men and be in a happy, healthy relationship. And I truly believe that that's what you should thrive for as a woman, but especially as a pretty girl. So let's get into it. So, how did I get into this decentering men journey, and how can you start if you feel like you want to start on your decentering men journey? So this started for me personally, I think my second year in college, and I think it was just more so the pressure of performing beauty and trying to keep up with the beauty trends. And I just had a an epiphany, and I'm like, okay, I get the stress from school because I need my degree. I want my degree. I can't become a psychologist without these degrees. So I'm going to accept that. And then I looked at the other stresses and I was like, okay, so it's trying to keep up with my social life, like with my girlfriends going out. Because if you've never been to college, it's very much a party lifestyle, and the friends that I made were very social, and they would go out a lot. So just trying to keep up with that, and also trying to go on dates and find a partner, and that was one of the bigger unnecessary stresses. So I decided to just stop dating and go on my celibacy journey or abstinence. I'm not sure which is which, but I decided to stop dating and just look inwards and see, why am I chasing a relationship? What do I think the relationship is going to give me that I currently cannot give myself? And once I asked that question and I looked at all the things I wanted to achieve, and I try to fit a man into that equation, there is no equation where I needed, quote unquote, needed a man, you know? The man couldn't study for me, couldn't write my exams for me, couldn't get my degree for me, he couldn't go to the gym for me, he couldn't, get the part-time job and experience and volunteer hours for me. So it, there was no point in me putting so much time and effort into finding a relationship when I needed to put so much time and effort already into other things. Like the exams are already stressing me out, my papers, midterms, all these things that come with college life was already stressing me out, and I did not need to add another stressful element to that. So the first thing I did is I needed to shift my sense of validation. I was taught as a young girl that you get your validation from men. If men compliment you, then you're really pretty. If men want you, then you are of high value. If men treat you well, in a relationship, then you are of high value. And I needed to catch myself out whenever I try to seek external validation when doing something. And I need to ask myself, how do I feel about this? And it took some time because the conditioning is really, really strong. And mind you, you are taught this from a young age when it's easier to retain knowledge. And when you learn things from a young age, it sticks with you for longer. So I had to just be gentle with myself. I needed to not blame myself for having these thoughts. I need to remind myself, no, this is how the conditioning taught me to think, and it's working as it's supposed to. I need to change. I need to change the narrative in my head. And I also had to find new ways that I could validate myself. So the main thing that I did was journal. This helped me a lot. And if I couldn't or I didn't feel like journaling, like writing a whole essay, then I'll just write a little poem. Or when the journal app dropped on iPhone, I started attaching pictures of like my activities. And I found new things to do, like I found new hobbies, new interests, other ways I could validate myself by achieving actual skills and actually having something tangible outside of like a failed date, because when I would when I had censored men, if like something bad would happen, like maybe I would break up with someone or someone would stand me up on a date or something wouldn't go as planned, then it would actually ruin my whole week. Like the whole week I'd be depressed. I wouldn't like want to talk to people. I wouldn't want to hang out with people. And yeah, it was just a waste of emotions because a lot of the times when you are in the dating scene, you will come across a lot of people that do want to waste your time or whatnot. And now you're going to let that affect your progress and you're going to let that stop you in your tracks. And I just said no. I'm not going to let that be my story. Number two is I started, sorry, not stopped. I started treating beauty as self-expression. And I realized that a lot of the times when I started doing beauty or quote unquote self love, it came from a place of pressure. Like I said, trying to keep up with the trends. I saw that skincare was in, makeup was in, doing your hair was in, your edges. Oh, that was back in the edges craze. So I always had to do my edges, always had to do my hair, always had to do my makeup because I developed a very strong sense of body dysmorphia as well. I would lose the weight, but let's say if I couldn't go for a run for 2 days in a row because I was studying for something, then I wouldn't feel confident in my body and I'd have to go to the gym. And it was just always a balancing act because I did not see beauty as what I wanted to see it as. I saw it as what other people told me it was. And the biggest goal was to be desirable. So, like, that's what my self expression would be based on. And now my self expression is based on what makes me feel comfortable, what makes me feel happy, what best describes me as a person. I'm not afraid now to wear baggy shirts to the gym. At first, I used to feel really unattractive if I wore baggy clothing, but now I'm like, no, it's cold, I'm bloated. I don't feel comfortable in a crop top today, so I'm not gonna wear a crop top to the gym or a tight Pilates set. I'm just gonna wear these sweats and these shirts, and I don't feel any type of way about it. And that came from decentering desirability as well. I had to ask myself, if no one was watching, if if there were no men on earth, how would I carry myself? And I truly believe that that's how I carry myself today. I would still act the same way, still dress the same way, still do the same things. Another thing is I actually found joy in wearing makeup again. It became more experimental, more artistic, and not oh, I have to put on eyeliner every day. I love my face now, like my natural face, and I prefer not to wear any makeup. But when I do wear makeup now, I actually enjoy it. Like I see it as a form of art, as a canvas. I see my face as a canvas, and I see my features as something to play around with. At first, I used to feel pressure to learn makeup and get it right. And I felt like I needed to wear makeup every day because my face looked better with makeup. Now I understand that it's not that my face looks better, it looks different. It looks painted, you know. So I don't need the makeup, so I don't need to wear it when I don't want to wear it. I also had to re-educate my gaze. That's number four for me is that I needed to look at other forms of beauty, not only the beauty that the media was feeding me. I needed to go look at other art and media and literature and see how other women were represented in other cultures and also read up on my history and see what my ancestors look like and what my DNA looks like. And this was honestly one of the biggest form of validation, especially reading like poems about Nefertiti and just seeing what she was depicted as. And she looks a lot like me. So just seeing how they spoke about Nefertiti and what they wrote about her and stuff, before then, I'd never seen a dark-skinned black woman get that much praise or be spoken about like that, not over sexualized, but still admired for her beauty, for her essence, and for her femininity. And then I also had to follow influencers that have my phenotype or have realistic goals for me and not look outside something that is unattainable. Like I stopped looking at, no offense, I stopped looking at people who got their success through nepotism because I'm not a nepo baby. I have to work for my stuff. So obviously looking at that isn't going to encourage me because I'm going to look at that and be like, oh, I wish I had like, oh, it would be so nice to just have like a billionaire dad to just fund every desire I have. So I had to start following people that are going to celebrate or highlight my authenticity. And I also had to stop comparing myself to other people, um, especially other people who are getting more attention. On social media, this is so toxic. If you're doing this, stop now. Comparison is the thief of joy, and you don't need to compare yourself to anyone because you are so unique as it is. There is no one like you, and that is actually a fact. And once I started doing these things and implementing these methods in my life, I found that I found joy in the simple tasks in life, like going to the gym, putting on makeup, choosing outfits, doing my hair. At first, it used to literally feel like debilitating pressure, and now it feels like an actual act of self-love and I'm pouring into myself. And just to clarify, this isn't going to happen overnight. A lot of the times with self-improvement, when you start a new habit, especially if you haven't been doing it your entire life, it's going to feel strange. You're going to feel that imposter syndrome. You're going to get those doubtful feelings, but you just need to push through it until you get to your goal. It always takes time. Anything worth investing in is going to take time. Even investments, like if you invest in a company, a startup especially, you're not going to get your returns immediately. It's going to take time for that company to build up its name, its brand, its reputation, its customer base until you can actually cash out on your investment. So you are the exact same way. You are a future investment that you can only cash out on in months, years, maybe even decades. So don't rush yourself. And don't give up, don't quit if you see that, oh, I'm not getting the results immediately. But this is my video for today. I hope you enjoyed. I love talking about this. I love talking about feminism and just encouraging women to practice their liberation as much as possible. Let me know what you think about these methods. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Put it in the comments below. Also, let me know where you're listening from, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.